By 4 p.m. most days, you've already made more decisions than you realize. What to wear, what to eat, which email to answer first, which fire to put out, which AI tool to try, which one to ignore, which notification actually matters. None of those decisions is a big deal on its own, but by the time something that actually matters lands on your desk, like a real decision with real consequences, you're running on fumes and you don't even know it, because fatigue like this doesn't feel like fatigue. It feels more like irritability. It feels like avoidance. It feels like saying yes to the easy thing instead of the right thing. Welcome back to Truth in a Digital World. I'm John Delaney. Today we're talking about decision fatigue and why it's quietly one of the most dangerous things you're dealing with, and why AI, used well, might be one of the best tools we have to fight it. Now, quick note before we get into it, this was actually supposed to be my first guest conversation of the season with Peter Bulka from London. Well, a recording issue on my end pushed that back about a week, so you're getting a last solo episode instead. Well, and honestly, it worked out because decision fatigue is the perfect setup for the conversation we're about to have with Peter next week. So consider this a warm-up. Decision fatigue isn't a new concept. Psychologists have studied it for decades. The idea that your ability to make good decisions is a finite resource, and it depletes every time you use it, regardless of how small the decision is. Judges have been shown to hand down harsher rulings late in the day, not because the case has changed, but because their capacity for careful judgment has worn down. It's the same brain, same training, but less fuel in the tank. And here's what's different now. The sheer number of decisions we're asked to make every single day has exploded. And a lot of that explosion is digital. Which app, which platform, which AI tool, which notification to silence, which subscription to cancel, which of 40 browser tabs actually deal with. None of it feels heavy in the moment. All of it adds up. And the danger isn't that you'll make one bad decision. It's that your capacity for good judgment gets spent on things that never should have required judgment in the first place, leaving nothing left for the moment that actually needed it. Let me start this by talking about life, not business, because this hits there first. Think about your own day. You wake up and you're already deciding, snooze or get up, coffee or not, what to eat, what to wear, which route to drive, which of the 11 unread group texts to respond to. By the time you sit down to do actual work, you've already burned through decision-making capacity on things that individually don't matter at all. You know, I felt this acutely during my own recovery. After my heart attack, I was suddenly facing dozens of small health decisions every day. What to eat, when to walk, which medication at which time, how much to push myself. It was exhausting in a way that had nothing to do with physical strength. It was decision exhaustion stacked up on top of everything else that I was already carrying. And I noticed something. The more small decisions I could take off my own plate, the more capacity I had left for the decisions that actually mattered. How I showed up for my family, how I thought about my business, how I'd used time I'd been given back. That's not a faith point, though I'll admit it shaped how I think about stewardship. It's just true. Decision fatigue is real, and most of us are drowning in decisions nobody needs us to make personally. Now, bring that into your business, and the stakes get higher. If you're a founder or a business owner, you're not just making personal decisions all day. You're making them for your team, your customers, your bottom line. Which vendor, which hire, which price point, which marketing channel, which of the 15 new AI tools promising to change your business is actually worth your time, and which is noise. Here's the part that should concern you. Every one of those small decisions you insist on making yourself is decision fatigue you're voluntarily signing up for. And it compounds. By the time a decision comes along that genuinely needs your full judgment, maybe a hire that will shape your culture or a pivot in your business that will shape your next 5 years, you're deciding all of that on a depleted tank, the same way that judge hands down a harsher ruling at 4 p.m. This is exactly the setup for something we're going to dig into in the next episode. A founder who insists on deciding everything doesn't just get tired, they become the bottleneck in their own business. Decision fatigue isn't just uncomfortable, it's one of the quiet mechanisms that traps founders inside businesses that can't function without them. So here's where I want to flip this, because most of the conversation about AI and decision making focuses on the risk, like AI making bad decisions for you or AI as one more thing to evaluate. And I think that's backwards, because used well, AI is one of the best tools available right now for fighting decision fatigue, not adding to it. In everyday life, AI can absorb an enormous number of low-stakes decisions that used to drain you. Meal planning and scheduling, drafting the first version of an email so you're editing instead of starting from a blank page, summarizing a long document so you're not burning an hour deciding what matters in it, sorting and prioritizing your inbox so your first decision of the day isn't where do I even start. None of these decisions needs a human's full judgment in the first place. They just needed to get done consistently without draining you. In business, the benefits are even bigger. AI can triage customer inquiries, so you're only making judgment calls on the ones that actually need you. It can draft first pass proposals, contracts, and reports so your decision becomes approved, adjust, or reject instead of create from nothing. It can flag anomalies in your numbers so that you're not manually scanning spreadsheets looking for a problem you might miss anyway. It can handle scheduling, routine customer communications, first drafts of marketing copy, basic research, a whole category of decisions that were never a good use of a founder's finite judgment to begin with. The founders who are going to have the most capacity for the decisions that actually matter, like hiring and culture and strategy, the moments that define the next chapter of the business, they're the ones that are going to use AI to clear out everything else. And it's not because AI replaces their judgment, it's because it protects it. I want to give you a simple framework as to what to delegate and what to keep. Here's a simple way to sort this out, and this works in life or in business. Ask 2 questions about any decision in front of you. And here they are. Does this actually require my judgment? And does getting it wrong carry real weight? If the answer to both is no, that decision is a candidate to hand off. It could be to AI, it could be to a process, or it could go to someone else entirely. Now, if the answer to either is yes, that's exactly where you should be spending the judgment you've protected. Most of us have that backwards. We spend our best mental energy on low stakes decisions because they're right in front of us and easy to resolve. And we arrive at high stakes ones already spent. Flip that and you get more capacity, not less, for the decisions that actually deserve you. Here's what I want you to take away from today. Decision fatigue is a silent killer because it doesn't feel like a crisis. It feels like a long day, but it's quietly eroding your judgment on exactly the decisions that need it most. And the fix isn't fewer decisions in general. It's fewer decisions that never needed to be yours in the first place. Used well, AI is one of the best tools we have for making that trade. There's an old example of this principle that predates any of our technology. In the book of Exodus, Moses is worn down trying to personally judge every dispute in the entire camp until someone finally tells him, "You can't do it all. Delegate what doesn't require you and save yourself for what does." Different era, same problem, and the tools have changed, but the wisdom hasn't. Well, in our next episode, we go straight at what happens when a founder never makes that trade, when every decision, big or small, keeps landing on one desk. Again, I'm bringing in my first guest of the season, Peter Bulka, creator of the Hamster Wheel Trap. He's going to talk exactly about that. Why founders become the bottleneck in their own business, and what it actually takes to get out. Well, if today's episode hit home, take one thing off your plate this week that never needed to be your decision in the first place. And if you're a business owner wondering where AI could actually protect your time and your judgment instead of adding to the noise, that's exactly the conversation that we have at Clear Brand Digital. Thanks for listening to Truth in the Digital World. I'm John Delaney. Let's talk about truth before we outsource it.